Hi, my name is Maya, and this is my channel Beyond My Comfort. Today will be the official day where I start the first video for a series I will be building off of based on my trading knowledge from where I started to where I am today. So yes, if you'd like to follow the journey, then please subscribe. Leave a like down below, and also tell me where you are in your trading journey. So I would like to first start off by saying I have been teaching myself how to day trade for the past 7 months. Crazy, I know. And though I am not a successful trader yet, I plan to get there, share my knowledge, share my experience along the way, and hopefully connect with other people who are going through the same journey, going through their own journey, and would like to see what it looks like. So yeah, today I will be talking about where I started off, which was learning about candlesticks and trends, what that means, what that looks like, and how to apply it to the charts. In a second, I will bring up my whiteboard and start off by showing you what a simple candlestick looks like. But first, I want to show you what a chart is and what it looks like and how scary it could be. But once you get into all the nitty gritty, then hopefully after this video, you'll realize it's not that scary. So yeah, let's get started. So here I have up the chart for the NASDAQ 100. I know it looks a little scary, but don't worry. I will show you what everything means, and hopefully you'll get to a point where I am today where I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. Let me get it out of the way. Okay, so, yep, this is a chart. This is what I look at every day. I know right now you're just like, what the heck am I looking at? This looks crazy. But this is what I use every day to day trade. I use the platform called TradingView. So yeah. Okay. So here we go. So on the screen, you should see a green candlestick and a red candlestick. So this whole thing right here, and this whole thing right here is called a candlestick. And though they look the same, there are a lot of meanings to candlesticks. So for one, on a typical chart, you're going to see a green candlestick and a red candlestick. And you might be wondering, well, what's the difference? Well, for a green candlestick on the chart, that's gonna, basic terms, that basically means that that candlestick opened and price action moved up. And then for a red candlestick, that usually means that price opened and it closed with price moving down. So here, let's start with this one, with the green candlestick. Let me just use black. Okay, so like I said, with the green one, you start at a certain level for price, and then you end with it moving, with price action moving upwards. So this part here, so this bottom part, yep, okay, that was terrible. So this bottom part right here, this is the open of the candlestick. And then here we have the close. Okay. Oh, if I can spell correctly. Here we have the close. So simple enough, right? So for the opposite, like I said, for red, price action started at a certain level and then it moved downwards, and that's where we get a red candlestick. So it's basically just flipped. So here we have the open. This is where price opened at a certain time. And then at this level, this is where it closed. And this rectangle, both here and here, is called the body of the candlestick. Now you might be wondering, what are these little things here and down here? Well, that is what we call our wicks. And our wicks on a wider scale tell a lot about what we are looking at on the chart. But in this instance, I will just be sharing the basics. So basically, let's start with the green candle. For this one, we see where it opened and we see where it closed. But the wick also represents how far price moved during that session, during that time. So if we started right here, and we close right here, price actually opened, let's say it opened here, and at one point it reached this lower level where the bottom of this wick is, and then it also came up here and reached this level before finally closing right here. Okay, and then so for the red candlestick, so as we see, price opened here, and then at one point it eventually reached the top of this wick, the top right here at this level, and then it also came back down and reached the bottom of this wick right here before closing at this level. Okay, so again, for both of these, this rectangle right here for the red and this rectangle right here for the green, are called the body of the candlestick. And then these little points here and here, oops, nah, I did not mean to do that. Okay, and here are called the wicks. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So yeah, easy enough. So now that we've gone over just the basics of what an individual candlestick means, both for green and for red, and what that means for price action, where it's moving, now I want to connect that to what a trend looks like. So you have three types of price action that can be occurring in the stock market. You have an uptrend, and this is where you kind of see like a line here. Let me actually show it on here. You can see an uptrend where basically price looks to be doing one of these. Okay, you have here, you have a downtrend, and that's where price looks to be doing one of these numbers. And then you have something which is called like consolidation, which is where price isn't really in a typical going in a type of direction. It's more just like overlapping candles. So it looks like that basically. And of course, it's never going to look that clean, that exact, but the more you review, the more you look at it, you can kind of figure out some type of distinction of what's happening in the market. So last thing we're going to go over, I want to show you based off of a candlestick chart, what that looks like. So we have two sides. Here we have our uptrend. Okay. We have our downtrend. So uptrend, as you can see here, you have a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low, and you basically just have that repeating pattern. And then for a downtrend, you have a low, a high, lower low, a lower high, lower low, and then that same trend going on. So you might ask, well, what defines a high or a low? So how I was taught, a high is considered when you have a upward price action moving up and then down, shown by a green and a red candle. So this one right here and this one right here, oops, I would consider that little high formed. And then for a low, I would consider that price moving down, then back up. So you have this downward candle and then this upward candle, and that would be your low. Okay, and you see it gets formed here as well, and then the low is formed here, and that pattern shows, or and that's where you get the distinction of where your trend is going. And then same for over here, you have your low defined by those two candles, and then your high defined by these two candles, and then you see it up here again. So here's your low, okay, and then here, oops, here is a high. Okay, I hope that made sense. So yeah, so that is our distinction between an uptrend and a downtrend. Now let's review this all and apply it to the market. Okay, so I have my charts back up, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of red candles, meaning that price is moving down a lot during this time. And we would classify this as our downtrend. And an easy way to tell is, like I said, where you have a low and a high, and then a lower low followed by a lower high. So this red to green would define a low, and then this green to red would define a high. And then following that, we have a lower low, a lower high, another lower low, a lower high, and that would help me distinguish, okay, we are in a downtrend right now. Now, let me look for an example of an uptrend. Okay, so now here we have an example of an uptrend. So like I said, an uptrend is where you have a low and a high, followed by a higher low and a higher high. So our downward candle right here and our upward candle, price is moving down and then up. And so that would be our low. And then our green right here to our red, that is price moving upward and then down. So that would make a little peak, and that would be our high. We see this again. So we see a higher low right here, followed by a higher high, followed by a higher low. So that would help me distinguish, okay, we are in an uptrend right now. So yeah. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope everything made sense for the most part, but if you have any suggestions on how I could explain things better, or if you have any questions at all, please leave a comment down below and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I will be posting a mentorship type video based on my early knowledge every Saturday. I know today's Sunday. We had a few technical issues, but we still got it out. But again, I want to thank you all for listening if you've made it to this point, and I will see you all next week. Bye.